Oh, there she is. Hey, Lisa, I'm going live.
Okay.
Actually, I'm live. Hi, babies. Look at my babies. Oh my gosh. Can you see them? Hi, Natalia. Hey, where's my Anastasia? Hey, Stasia. Hi, you're live. You're live on YouTube. Oh, how are you guys today? And Elisa, you don't want to be live on YouTube? There you go. Yeah. Okay, honey. All right, I love you guys.
We'll join.
Okay. All right, bye. Okay. Back to it. What I decided I'm going to do is take these very tiny feathers and I'm going to place them here on the gourd in this one particular spot, and I chose the tinier one so that you can still see the artwork of the string, but it still just embellishes it a little bit more. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, it's a tiny piece of leather, not sure if I'm going to be able to bead around it, but I will try. I don't know if you can see me. I'm just going to cut a small square. Of course, I always like to fringe my work. Let's be even. So I'm going to fringe it first. Tiny, tiny little fringes. I don't know if you can see the fringe. Tiny, tiny, thin fringe. Just gives it a really cool look. The reason why we fringe our clothes is pre-European. Our clothes were made out of leather, and actually leather is very comfortable. It protects our skin from the sun as well as the elements, but it can also hold a lot of water. So they fringe the clothing so that the water runs off the fringe instead of seeps into the clothing. My tiny fringe, okay? Then I'm probably gonna have to build this up a bit, these feathers. I want to be to the opposite, so it's gonna be like this. I'm gonna take my sinew, a piece of sinew. Okay, and wrap it. And I will make a loop, so it's going to be easy to attach it to my vase. This way it builds it up a little so that I have some room to do a little bit of beadwork. Loop it and knot it. Probably really hard to see with these little tiny feathers. Your call will be answered by the next available representative. Thank you for Okay.
We were just broken into, and we need a home security system.
Oh, sorry, wrong department. Please hold.
The best home security
Okay,
is
so
to get. With Simply Safe, you can get comprehensive,
I have
professionally monitored home security online without the hold time or runaround.
my bulked up feather ends, because these are tiny feathers, and I have it knotted. The next thing I want to do, I'm going to utilize this end of this string, so I'm going to base it up, and I'm going to wrap. I'm not prepared because I forgot to thread my needle, but I'm going to wrap the fringe around the feathers and sew it together, and I'm going to do what's called the peyote stitch of beadwork around that. So let me get my beading string. It's a very fine, really fine string, and I don't like to use more than 1 arm's length, so that's how I measure mine, because it's really difficult to pull it. And I have to find my tiny beading needles. I have a whole supply of needles. I want the tiniest ones, which I'll probably use size 10. Maybe I'll use size 12. It's a thinner needle. I don't know if you can see how tiny this needle is. Let me take this piece of leather and show it to you up close. But that's how tiny the needle is. And how I thread it is I put the string between my finger and my thumb and then press down through beading needle, and voila, my little secret way of threading. Of course, I'm going to knot the other end. So now everybody's going to get a lesson in peyote stitching. Work. Okay. I'm going to start it at where the leather ends in the twist. Basically sew it together. I like to wrap it around the string a few times and then reinforce it by sewing again, going back through the same way. That way it kind of stays together while I do my beadwork. So it's really pretty already. It really doesn't even need beads. Let's see, can you see it in the lighting better? And I'm going to choose some beads. These beads are behind me. Yep. I can choose which beads I want to use. So here's a small collection of my beads. I have lots of beads. Beads everywhere. So I'm going to take this. I just like to use recycled containers. Nothing fancy. These in here. This is the last project. I got to continue with those, the earrings I made. But the flatter the flatter the surface for the beading, the better. see what beads we're gonna choose. I think I'll choose some very tiny size. The tiniest ones I have, size 12. And purple. We don't need that many. I like this rose pink. It's one of my favorite colors. I've been using this color since I was 8 years old. I've always been drawn to this rose pink. My first beading project that I finished, I was 8. I still have it, the medallion. Some sky blue. We're going to do a simple design on this one. And I got a pop of red color in there. I have the tiny reds, the really tiny reds. This one's still on a string. And you should use all the same size beads, whether they're size 10 or size 12. The higher the number, the smaller the bead. But in one project, you should always use the same size beads. Maybe I'll put a tiny bit of orange to make this come out. I like this color combination already. Can't stop getting the color combinations. Okay, so I think we're good. We didn't get any green. Do we have any tiny green up here? Let's see. Oh, is that tiny? I think these might be size 10. No, I don't want to take a chance. Here's your size. How can we forget turquoise? Want some size 12 turquoise. I'll replace. Okay. The beads. Okay. So basically, we're just gonna use these beads. I don't know if you can really see it in the light, but you better. The needles away. Always be careful with the needles. These type of needles will go through skin. That's not fun. Okay. My surface is ready to work. Another tip is to lay leather underneath of your surface, especially if it's a shiny surface. And that way when the beads do fall off of your tray, they don't roll very far. You kind of get stuck to the leather. Okay. Can we see ourselves here? Let's see. Alright, I'm going to make my main color turquoise, so I'm just going to string the turquoise and make one line of turquoise. I have a confession too. I can bead, and I like to bead, but I really don't like it. So I only do it when I need it. Because beading takes a long time. And I know every pattern and every stitch, the lace and the peyote, and all the techniques. And you can do nice neat work, but whew, and it's tedious. I'd rather work with the gourds and the leather and the shells and the pine needles and anything else that grows. But you have to have beads to embellish this stuff. It really brings it out.
For South Jersey schools, the Chamber of Commerce thanks Steve Sweeney for stopping Governor Christie's plan to raise taxes on commuters who work in Philadelphia. Nobody works harder for South Jersey than Steve Sweeney. Paid for by Sweeney, Versacelli, and Talaferro.
All right, so when it's a nice, complete but tight circle, you just go through the last beads. Now this pattern, the peyote stitch, is actually one bead at a time. So it's actually a little, it takes a long time. So to do my next row, I just get one bead on the string. You skip a bead and you go through the next. And that's all there is to it. One bead, skip a bead, go through the next. And then you'll see as the rows build that there'll be one bead that's a little lower than the other. So you skip a bead, go through the next. So once you get the technique of putting the bead on the needle, which is after a while you find it's really easy, then the work can go a little fast. Skip a bead and go through the next. Skip a bead and go through the next. Skip a bead. Go through the next. Lighting is really important when it comes to beadwork also. And no beadwork is ever perfect. When I was growing up, they told us that that there will always be a mistake because only God is perfect. So even when you find that mistake bead, it's called a mistake bead, in your work, you don't take it out and redo it. The only time that I'll take it out and redo it is if I have too many mistakes. So then I just take the responsibility to do it over again. So now I'm in my third row already, and I'm just going to go where the bead is hanging down. So I get a bead and go through that bead. All right, since I'm in my third row, I'm going to give it a little bit of a pattern. So I did my turquoise, so I like the burgundy next to the turquoise. I'm going to do turquoise and burgundy. And maybe I'll do two burgundies and see what the pattern comes out. And then let's pop an orange color in there. Let's do one orange. It's pretty. And then turquoise again. It's going to be the main color is the turquoise. Then we'll pop another color. Let's pop a pink. My favorite rose pink. Then we'll go back to turquoise. It's really interesting to see what the pattern is going to come out. None of my work's the same twice. It's all inspired at that moment. Turquoise. Okay. And let's see, I have light blue. Let's try light blue. It's a pretty color, light blue. And I completed another row already. So you can kind of see it's coming along Probably take me a good half an hour to do this. I'm not going to do the entire thing on the video. But I've come up to the red, so I'm going to put a red in there. So a red and a red. Another red. Now I came to an orange, so I'm going to put an orange in there. Back to its turquoise. Now pink. Back to turquoise. And then we'll go back to, now we're in light blue.
Back.
Okay, light blue. Okay, so now back to the next row again. You can see how it's coming along. So what I'm going to do is turn this off for now, and I will come back when it's done, and we will attach it to our gourd like so. And I can already visualize what it's going to come out to look like.